Hey guys, so I wanted to talk a little bit about a series that I've really enjoyed in several different formats, um, in single issues, in trade, in a novel that I read, and that series is Winterworld. Uh, the basic gist of Winterworld is it's kind of like Waterworld on ice, or The Postman, or something like that. There's been a global changing world event that has turned the whole world to ice. And so now there's ragtag survivors that are out there trying you know, to survive. So this was originally a miniseries in 1988 from Ellipse Comics. Um, and it's written by Chuck Dixon. There has been a whole gang of artists that have worked on this. I really like that cover. Um, But this mini series from '88 basically follows our main character Scully and a little girl named Wynn meeting up, and also a little Rah Rah, who is this little I don't know what he is, a kind of like a big ass ferret. I don't know. So somebody can tell me what that guy is. I don't know exactly what he is, but he's a really mean little attack animal. But you know, he's pretty cool. They're all pretty cool characters. But it's basically about this, just ragtag group kind of getting together, kind of a father-daughter relationship going on here, and them trying to survive. This mini-series has to do with um, them getting captured by a group that is taken over like a large sports complex, like the Superdome or something. And since everything outside is freezing, they've made this into like a giant like atrium type thing where they can grow food. And but basically, they use anybody that they capture out on the ice as slavery to just do horrible work for horrible food. But yeah, and it's just about them and their kind of fight against the man, and different stuff like that. The miniseries was really, really good. There were a lot of things in this that didn't, to me, really apply to what happened in the rest of it, but it was a really good miniseries. Then next up came the Winterworld series. There was two of these series, Winterworld and then Winterworld Frozen Fleet, that that came out. Totaled about 16 issues. This is from a couple of years ago that the series ran, and it basically is following Wynn and Scully from the time that first miniseries ends, and all of the stuff that they have to deal with now. It shows them finding that the entire Earth isn't frozen, that there are certain pockets that have like livelihood or whatever, but they also deal with a whole lot of scavengers that are just flat out evil. So like I said before, man, the worst thing about the apocalypse is the people in the apocalypse. uh, doesn't matter what it is. There's just going to be evil people, because in general, man, people are really just going to be out for their self and their family and such. So but this basically follows that, and them getting into one situation and then having to escape, and them getting into another situation and having to escape. But like I say, the underlying theme to all this stuff is just the relationship between the two of them in this just horrible situation that, there's so many different ways that you can die, and just kind of them supporting each other through this. When one of them gets down, the other one picks them up, and they're just such polar opposites. A real odd couple here. She likes to read and kind of be a little girl, and he's more of like he's had to survive his whole life, and so that's what he's used to. But basically, everywhere that they go, they wind up just running into really, really bad people. This series I really liked the covers on. I also really like the art by Butch Guice, and also Tommy Lee Edwards, that did some of the art in this. I think that Guice's art in the first part of this just absolutely amazing. Um, Wynn basically comes from a group of people that had airplanes, and so now they're going around and they're trying to find airplanes, which until the end of that first miniseries, Scully totally didn't believe that airplanes existed, and then they saw one, and so now they're trying to hunt down and find her family, and along the way just find all kinds of just horribleness. And so yeah, like I say, there's just some really, really good art in this, some really, really good covers. I mean, I like a lot of the covers in this, and you know, you see there, you know, like how that they're like hiding while all these people are trying to hunt them down. That's the general gist of everything that's going on. But what I thought was really cool was that Chuck Dixon wrote this book called Mechanic Song, which is the story of Scully. And it starts out when he's a little kid living with his parents, and raiders come in to like rob him of supplies, and they kill his parents, to which he goes out and kills them, and then he's kind of taken in by this guy who has formed like an underground community underneath a Walmart of all places, which is kind of cool. It was kind of interesting considering that you know, Scully had never seen like, you know, everything he had ever had was like secondhand, or he had to scavenge for or whatever. And there's one point in this where they like go up into a Walmart, and you know, there's just endless rows of everything that you would ever want, and it's just overwhelming to him that, you know, it could be that way. It's kind of funny, but you know, it teaches you where he learned to be a mechanic, where he learned to do everything, and you know, it teaches you that even his actual name is not Scully. That's when he graduated to actually being a mechanic. That is a pair of overalls that he was given, a pair of work overalls, and Scully was the name on the overalls, and so he kind of took that name. But this book was a really, really quick read. It's got really, really large text. It's only about 150 or so pages long, and yeah, it gave a lot of background information to really like why it is that he protects Wynn so much, because you know, his sister had died, and he kind of feels guilty for that. The woman that he was in the compound with, that he grew up with, that he kind of had a love interest in, died. Just everybody that was, I guess, he was supposed to protect has died. So now he doesn't want any kind of attachment to people. And, you know, that's really well explained in this. And I thought this was a great companion book to the whole series, kind of giving you an idea of what Scully's motivations are. I'm kind of hoping that they do one of these books as a Wynn book, even though in the Winterworld trade, there is a Wynn's Tale, which kind of tells you a little bit about her background, but not near as thoroughly as that book does. Like I say, I hope that they do that book at some point and, you know, really flush out more about her family and who they were. Because if they have airplanes in this world, obviously they're a pretty technologically advanced group of people, which would be really, really interesting to see amongst all these people that are basically savages. And it was also kind of interesting that in the end of the first series on this, that the guy that they left to die at the end of this kind of caught up with them, and they're like, oh shit, you caught up with us. So it was great that there was a continuation, a little bit of the story of this into this. The only thing that I didn't like was that when they're in this camp in the miniseries, Wynn gets half her hand cut off, and Scully gets 2 of his fingers cut off on his left hand. But when you read that book, that doesn't have anything to do with anything, and that was actually a really big part of this miniseries. So I thought that was kind of odd. But anyway, that's about all I got to say about that, man. Winterworld was great. If you like apocalyptic type stuff, like Snowball Earth type stuff, this right here is just it's an amazing series, man, with a lot of different ways to go about reading it. You know, being, you know, the novels, the graphic novels, single issues, whatever you'd like to read on that. There's a little bit of something for everybody. But I'm going to get off here and get around to reading some books, y'all.